This is a monumental day or just weekend in the One Piece community. I was around for Gear 4th.
Legendary.
And I remember just how crazy everyone went.
Oh, yeah.
This has surpassed
no
that.
no question. No question.
Easily.
It has surpassed that with positive and negative reception.
Yep.
Right? And so today to talk about this chapter, I had to get my guys on here. King Recon, Randy Troy. How are you guys doing today, man?
Fantastic. Ready to talk about the GOATness, man. Peak fiction. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Peak was literally in the chapter this week. So it's
exactly. Right. Exactly.
It's apt.
Yep. It's confirmed. It's in the manga.
Exactly. It's in the manga now. It's in the manga now. But I guess before we start, I start with you, Randy. Like reading this chapter, like after you read it, right? And after your stream, after you stopped your stream, what did that feel like?
Bruh.
Do I need just like how like exasperated I was?
Same.
Like,
yeah, I mean, you know,
this is insane.
I felt like this with 1043, right? You know, and I mean, you bring up 10,
right,
you bring up, you know, Gear 4th, right? And Gear 4th, I mean, was crazy in the community, absolutely. But honestly, as far as like a Luffy power up, I haven't felt this way in the community since Gear 2nd.
Okay.
So like that was a wild time in the community.
That predates all of us, most of us.
Yeah.
As far as like being in the community.
Yeah. I mean, and that, you know, there was no YouTube there. So I mean, it was just all forum hype and stuff like that too. But I mean, just
typing in caps.
Yeah. But you know, like even like I mentioned it in the mini reverie, but it was like after the Gear 2nd thing, like everybody knew what vulcanization was. Like everybody was a rubber expert, you know?
Yes.
And it was just,
I'm something of a rubber expert myself.
Right. Exactly. I didn't really see as much of people really trying to dive into rubber as much, you know, with Gear 4th. I mean, you know, there was some of it, but this really like made people like just go hard. Like, all right, you know, let's start talking about natural rubber. Where is it at its base form? Where is this? What is this? Where can we go? Like,
listen,
what has properties of rubber? Anything that has properties of rubber.
Listen,
Bungee
man,
gum.
Bungee gum.
One Piece is the only story that literally creates different like people from different industries, different walks of life out of random people, because people will turn into philosophers, right? Historians, right? Engineers. It was like, wait, what? What is all this? It was like, yeah, you didn't know that? Like, I'm like, no, that's not common knowledge, you know?
Right.
But this chapter, well, like you said, this is coming off of 1043, right? And by the end of it, we saw Zuniche is telling us that Joy Boy is back.
Exactly.
And Joy Boy is like, I think in the One Piece world, somewhat like... Okay, this video today is sponsored by Factor. What is Factor? Well, do you want fresh, ready-made meals? Well, you can get that when you sign up with Factor. Factor's meals are created fresh. They are never frozen, and they are designed by dietitians to ensure that every single meal is packed with premium, science-backed, nutritional quality. No more meal prep, no more dishes, no more unhealthy fast food. Factor offers the most convenient way to eat well while eating right. So with Factor, we got to talk about convenience, okay? Because it cuts out meal planning, right? And extensive prepping. The meals come together in minutes, and it takes the guesswork out of it. So you know what you're having for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it varies because you have options with keto, low calorie, vegan, and vegetarian lifestyles, okay? Next, we got to talk about goals. With Factor, fitness starts with food. So you can achieve your fitness goals through nutritious, purposeful eating. And the ingredients are all dietitian approved, and it's designed with integrity. Also, just want to let you guys know, the meals arrive arrived pre-prepared, ready to eat in 2 minutes or less, and so it's faster than ordering in. It's a rotating weekly menu of 27 plus meal options and 33 plus add-ons like smoothies, keto shakes, desserts, and so much more. It's actually making me hungry. I should actually go make a meal right now using Factor because it saves me so much time where I don't have to think about dinner and I can, actually spend time working on videos and stuff, But guys, to get in on this, you gotta use my link below, okay? Or you can go to go.factor75.com and use code POGBDA120, that's POGBDA120, for $120 off. Guys, this is a crazy deal. And I know for a lot of us, we're busy, we're on the go. Click the link below to make your life easier, healthier, and overall make your health a factor with Factor. And Joy Boy is like, I think in the One Piece world, somewhat like, hey, Santa Claus. You know what I mean? It's Santa Claus. There's a Santa Claus. You're like, okay, is Santa Claus real? Is it a man? Is it a title?
Yep,
right?
Yep.
Then all of a sudden, we're debating, okay, the title, what's happening, the reincarnation.
Yep.
Is Luffy still there?
Yep.
You know what I mean? Is Oda trying to throw us off? Is this dripping rubber? Is Luffy melting?
Yep. Is it the hat?
Right? Is it that hat? Yeah. It's like it was the perfect cliffhanger. Then we went on break. So then we had this entire time to sit with it. And Oda, I think he has a good feel for the pulse of the community because I'm sure he's like, okay, yeah, after that chapter, you're going to wait for a bit and then I'm going to blow your mind in 1044. So I guess we can start with the cover page, right? Okay. What are you guys' thoughts? Because I liked it. I definitely liked it, especially with this I would say young lady, but apparently she's half giant or something, or half merman or whatever.
The one that's got the octopus legs.
The octopus, yeah. She's Praline's sister. People have told me.
Okay, good, because I thought our boy Evil was in the mud.
Yo, I said the same thing when I was watching the stream.
What did he say?
No, about the Kraken theory?
Blackbeard's an octopus and all this. I was like, oh, is this the Taco no Mi right here? Like,
got it.
I was shook. I was like,
got it. Nah, I was like, okay, this is a pleasant surprise. But what I like is it seems like they're about to dissect them.
Yeah.
So, my theory of Raid Suit Katakuri coming to Wano is still intact. Oh. Okay. So,
this is new.
Talk to me about this, bro. Hold on, man. Talk to me, bro.
Listen, this is all out of my love for Katakuri, and I'm giving him every single power up that's out there. So I've given him advanced conquerors. I'm like, yo, he's gonna come with a raid suit as well. So and now I'm like, oh, his devil fruit is not like Mochi. He's like a mythical Zoan or something, but we'll figure it out at some point. But no, I really like where Oda's going with the cover story because we might get to see Katakuri. That's probably
that's gonna be the biggest highlight, dude. That's an automatic 10 out of 10.
And Oda is he knows that. He's waiting. He's just he's making us follow Oven on purpose here.
He's teasing us, man. 100%. He's teasing us. But I want to see. What do you guys think though? Do you guys think they escaped? Who do you guys think helped them? What do you guys think about it?
Well, I mean, I think it really it comes down to what is the purpose of this cover story in the first place.
Yeah,
and obviously, we have the Big Mom Pirates are split at Whole Cake Island. We've got another half of them just somewhere, outside of Wano. I'm hoping that they're used as fodder for the SSG if they're on the world government ships personally, but.
That's some strong fodder, Randy.
That's the whole I mean, hey, go back to 985. All right, Kaido was talking big game about the SSG, so but I mean now
if they body Smoothie,
that's what I want. That's what I want. That's gonna let us know. That's gonna let us.
That's how you build hype, though. Right. That's how you build hype.
That's what my headcanon is right now. We see the SSG.
If it's Smoker, it makes sense though. If Smoker's on that ship.
Well, it also depends on what you believe the SSG are, and I mean, obviously, this is segueing into a completely different thing. But
right.
I think they're. I don't know if Smoker exactly would be an SSG member. I think that I think it's going to be in line with the Pacifista project, but that
Yes,
but that it's
absolutely.
actually going to be like good smiles. Like all of the smiles that
Okay.
Kaido has, they're all, failed. They're abominations or whatever. But Vegapunk was working on messing with lineage factor on devil fruits and all of that. Obviously, with the pacifistas there, he was able to sort of take an element of Kizaru's fruit without the intangibility, right, and give it to the pacifista. So I'm assuming that that's what we're going to get. We're gonna see either robots or other fodder marines that are now not fodder anymore because they have paramecia elements of like Akainu's magma fruit.
That'd be insane.
They can't turn into magma, but they can shoot it or something, that kind of thing. Or they all have Kizaru's laser.
I agree with that. I agree that SSG is definitely going to be involved with, like, the Pacifista project has been perfected. They've found a way where they can enhance. I feel like they can enhance even devil fruit users, right? So it's
multiple devil fruits. I mean, then
then
Smoker.
And that's why I include Smoker, because it's just he was heading towards Vegapunk. I feel like a redemption is necessary, and back with this conversation where he felt like he wasn't in a position to change things based on where he was. It's like, what better way to also replace the warlords than, hey, I'm sacrificing myself. I'm going to be a part of this project. And it'd be an amazing thing if Smoker comes back in and he's the one that takes down, one of the commanders for Big Mom. Like, wait, this is a completely different guy on a completely different level, which I would absolutely love. Listen, Smoker was my favorite Marine pre-time skip, man.
Oh, for sure.
He was
that dude.
He was that dude.
He was amazing.
Yo, at the end of Alabasta, he was one of my favorite characters in the whole series, man. Like,
bro.
that was my guy.
He was great.
Facts.
He's such a good guy. He's like morally, even like with like One Piece, the extremes are there, but with him, like, I don't want to owe law, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to owe a pirate. I'm gonna do everything to get his heart back. Like, it's just, it embodies what One Piece is, and Smoker is just one of those characters that I really enjoyed every time he was on screen.
We need him back.
So,
ASAP.
Yeah, absolutely. Fujitora is a great villain. Like, I love Fujitora. Like, everything he's done so far, it's already had major ramifications. For sure, right? The warlord system is already abolished. But we need our guy Smoker back and Tashigi for some more sword lore.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, to the chapter.
To actually, before doing that SSG segue, I think that the cover story, the whole point of it is to get Pudding back to Big Mom, because my headcanon is also that Pudding is going to have to be responsible for, like, giving, just tying up this loose end with Big Mom's just character with the whole Mother Carmel thing. So I don't know. I don't know if Pudding took those memories away from her and then is able to put them back in, or using her fruit is able. Because why would you have this thing where Big Mom doesn't remember the specific part of her life, but then her most important daughter is someone that can manipulate memories?
100%.
I agree with you.
Yo,
I agree with you.
This is why I love Randy, man, dude. As a massive Pudding fan, that would be the greatest. I'm down for that. I love that.
Listen,
I love that idea.
Pudding initially, I hated her.
I can't blame you.
Didn't like her. But that's like a lot of One Piece characters. But over time, you understood her struggle. Sure. She was literally just getting beaten by Big Mom. Hey, you're useless. I don't need you. Like, awaken. Come on. What are you doing? And then, like, her internal struggle where she's like, I hate Sanji. I love him, but he's such a nice guy. Like, I'm going to kill him. It's like, it was just so, illuminating to just, like, everything she's gone through, and you can just feel the traumatic experiences.
For sure.
You could do a whole psychological analysis on her.
You really could.
Absolutely.
It's such a compelling internal conflict.
And I feel the same way about Brule.
Yeah,
agreed.
Like,
agreed.
I was like, why is Brule here?
Underrated.
Like, she's just there. Then Oda, like that, like, was like maybe 3 pages.
Yes.
Right. Right. Yeah, that little flashback.
Like,
oh man,
I love her.
Yeah,
exactly.
I love what the anime did with that flashback, man.
Oh my
they did a fantastic
God.
job.
It's just like, I'm an older brother. Okay.
Same here.
So it's like Luffy Ace, Sabo, Luffy, things like that. It just, it hits differently with me. So for like Katakuri, like, hey man, don't fucking touch my little sister, bro. It's just like
that explains the
resonate with
Katakuri
that.
love, man. There's a lot of reasons to love Katakuri.
Listen,
but I mean,
it's a lot of reasons, but Katakuri and Ace, some of my favorite characters. Now, Doflamingo is also one of my favorite
we all
characters.
know that, bro. Yes, sir.
can't hate on the Cameron Mink.
Hey man, that's a completely different reason. Just so drippy, right? But nah, I completely like siblings. That wasn't Dofi's thing. But it's just
Hey, but Dopey took care of his people, bro. That's that dude, man. As big of a villain as he was, he took care of at least some of his people.
I mean, like we talk about psychological analysis. Doflamingo is like one of those
no
characters
question.
where you can do extensive
An incredible
analysis
character.
on just like his thought process and what he's gone through. I can't wait for his speech at the end of Wano because you know we're gonna go back to
for sure.
him because he's gonna get word that hey,
I'm hoping we get Impel Down 2.0.
oh
yes.
my god,
Yes,
oh
me too.
my
Some
God,
sort of
that'd be
inversion.
With
insane.
Dofi?
Oh yeah, with Dofi. Yeah, I mean now that the warlords
God.
are going to be heading back there,
That's
potentially
Let's
some of
get
them.
it. Let's get it.
Anything
the only
to get
one-
Dopey
no-
back in the story in the Red Brago. Anything.
I'm here for it.
Yep.
You know that. I'm here for
Yep.
it. All right, I know people are like, yo, where's the chapter? Talk about the chapter.
Right,
All
right.
Sorry. We're sorry. Okay. Chapter starts off, right? We hear Luffy. What's happening? How can I still stand? I just lost, but I feel like I'm having a blast. Congress hockey.
Yes.
And there's a doom da 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 doom da
The
da,
drums.
right?
Yeah.
And Momonosuke is like, it's like a shake. And then he's talking to Yamato. Luffy is Joy Boy. Zunisha said that. And then someone had pointed out, like, it's fitting that Sanji's kind of the first straw hat that they show.
Yeah.
That, pointed out with Luffy, his observation hockey.
Shout out to my goat.
Shout out to
out to
Sanji. There's Kid, Law, Hyogoro, Marco Yui, and, Nami, Tama. It's just like, all right, our boy's back.
That's right.
So
hear
there's
the
something to be
drums.
said about the first page too, because there was, there was a lot
yeah.
of, there's a lot of talk about whether or not, we were going to get like a reincarnation,
Yes.
some sort of, situation. Like, was what Zunisha was saying in 1043 literal? Like,
Yeah.
Joy Boy, like actually Joy Boy is back. But then
Yes.
what we're getting here is actually the confirmation that Zunisha is hearing the very specific heartbeat
Yes.
that comes with this awakening.
Right.
Yes, precisely. And it was so cool this week, not necessarily cool, but it was hilarious. Seeing some people saying that Luffy beat the reincarnation allegations. It's like, yeah, it's all good.
He did.
We're good.
He did.
We're all good now.
Because a lot of people are using that to say, oh, it's over.
Yeah.
One Piece is over party. Like, reincarnation trash. It's just like, let's wait and see. Let's see what happens here.
Look, I
You know what
trust
I mean?
Oda in all things. So
anything.
even if he went that route,
Yep.
like I said, it could, if he went to, Cavendish Hakuba situation, I would have
Absolutely.
been
Could've been very
okay with that. Just for a little bit, don't make it the whole, thing where he, anytime he transfers
Take over
into
Luffy's
Joy Boy, then
personality,
he's not there. No,
Exactly.
but passing of the torch type thing, I could have seen something like that too.
I guess in this situation, did you guys take anything away from Yamato and her saying, wait, Zunisha said that? Because she read the logbook. Does that go in line with just the fact that those important pages were torn out, so she just doesn't know a lot?
It could be that Yamato, as we go back to, what was it, 994, I think, and you have Yamato running with Momonosuke after leaving Frankie,
Yes.
and saying that you're the one that's going to bring about the dawn. So it could be that Yamato has misinterpreted Momonosuke this entire time as Joy Boy.
That is certainly possible.
That's definitely possible.
That's certainly possible. So we know Momonosuke is important. We know the Minks are important. Luffy's obviously Joy Boy at this point.
Yep.
But they went straight from the reactions and they go to the Gores.
I was so shocked when I saw this page, bro. When I saw it switch to the Holy Land, I thought we were gonna get Emu, bro. I was like, oh lord.
I was like, wait, what's happening here? What's going on
Every
here?
time I see that building, it's
It's just
it's
your
something hype.
blood pressure starts rising. It's like
It's like, okay.
hold up.
They talked about what's your guy's name, Randy?
what happened?
They talked about your guy.
Oh yeah,
What's his
Dripper
name?
Scarfino, man.
Yes, sir.
He my guy, big Dripper.
Big drip.
Listen,
You know?
shout out to him. Went out like a
Oh, he
G.
did.
Absolutely.
Right?
Big
Yes.
facts.
And it's like they're again conversing amongst themselves. Are we sure our priorities are straight? Right?
Yep.
You know. And I want to ask you guys about this because a lot of people had issues with this panel or this conversation because there was a clear shift in their focus, right? From okay, it's a legend, we don't even know if it's real, to we got to kill Luffy right now, right?
Yeah.
And then they're giving us just they're being straight shooters. We tried to acquire the Gomu Gomu fruit, but even after 800 years, it seems to always evade us.
Yeah.
How do you guys interpret this? Does it conflict with anything before with the Gorosei? Talk to me.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, like I'm one of the people in the community that once I read that page, that was like 1037, right?
Yeah.
I was like, there is no way in the world that they're talking about anything other than Luffy's fruit, because there's no story relevance if it's anything else. To have this important thing to go to Mary Joa, like they're going to be talking about this. I think this is mostly just they were trying to hide just the fact that it had this other name. And I've seen some other translations going around, that another way that they're saying this could also be interpreted that another name for the Gomu Gomu no Mi is this. Not that the Gomu Gomu no's real name is this, but that it's actually an either or both. So
Okay.
there's that kind of changes things as well. Especially when you start to consider like, how is Luffy going to use this? Obviously he doesn't know that he has the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, right? Like he's not,
for sure.
We're not going to see him in 1045 like attacking Kaido and going Hito Hito no pistol.
Yeah.
Like he has
Yeah,
no idea
no.
unless someone gives him that information. Like,
For sure.
if Kaido happens to know this, like, that would be a great callback to Gomu Gomu. What was it?
Yeah.
What was it?
What would
Gomu
you
Gomu,
say?
what you said?
Yeah.
And he was talking so much trash that chapter. Like, I loved
He
it.
was talking he was talking smack.
Yeah.
Quick side question. Is there an actual Gomu Gomu fruit out there?
No. Well, if what Randy's saying is true and it's like an either or situation, then no. But if this really is the Hito Hito no Mi, then how awesome would it be if we actually run into the Gomu Gomu no user towards the end of the series?
Luffy has a Duval.
Yeah.
Right? Where it's-
Yeah, he has a Duval. That would actually be really cool.
This guy, he has the Gomu Gomu. Like, wait, why do they want me?
I don't think that we would see another Gomu Gomu, but we see so many users of like very similar fruits.
That's true.
Yeah.
Like Kuzan and Monet. You got Miss Valentine's Day and Mock Vice, Gladius and Mr. Five. Like there's always like this like lesser or more, and of course like Oda played, on our expectations of that expertly in Whole Cake with Katakuri and Luffy.
Oh man.
So there's
We thought for certain it was just. Oh my god.
Well, let me ask y'all this in regards to this conversation, because one of the things that bothered me after that 1037 chapter was who was like the rumors. Like, I know we've talked about the Shanks thing, want to talk about a certain pirate.
Yeah, that's the big one right now.
And it's
it's almost in my mind it's confirmed that like he was talking about Luffy and everybody's like, oh, that's too obvious. He's got to be talking about Blackbeard. He's got to be talking about this one. But it just makes too much sense. Yeah, but sometimes the most the real answer is the most obvious one.
That's right.
So
yeah,
and it's like, then if they're treating what he's saying as rumors and hearsay, but now this newly acquired information is making them move differently, it just makes me think, like, did they have a meeting with Emu, or was it simply as they acquired more information they realized that what Shanks was saying was factual? Like,
so how about this? Right. So after I read this chapter, like my headcanon immediately went back to, I want to talk to a certain pirate. Right.
Yeah.
Now we've seen the way that Shanks moves in this world. Like the world government kind of like throws their hands up like, oh, since it's you, we'll end the war. Since it's
Right.
you, we'll have this meeting, in our, our room here in Marijoa. So I kind of wonder if after he attacked, who's ship and all that, grabbed the, the Gomu Gomu, headed back to Fuchsia Village. I mean, probably wanted to give it to Ace, like maybe, and then, the fruit chose Luffy. But I think that he actually, like, kept the world government on a string this entire time to protect Luffy. Like, hey, I still have this fruit, and I could do something with it. So stay away from me. I'll keep the balance of the world, and this fruit will stay in a box. And then in 907, he shows up and says, hey, I got to talk to you about a certain pirate. Yeah, so actually that fruit I told you I've been keeping in a box, Monkey D. Luffy ate it. So...
Okay.
And since the fruit,
what is he trying to do though? Why is he telling them that? What is he trying to spur them on for?
Well, I mean, obviously a lot of this is just brought upon by headcanon, but I mean, there seems to be an implication that, death makes the man. So if that's, Shanks' idea, okay, we're hitting the prophecy time, these are things that, may have come about, conversations with Roger, with Rayleigh. We see the flashback in 509, maybe, I don't know, somewhere around there in Sabaody, right? That Shanks made his way back and had a conversation with Rayleigh. Hey, look, this kid was saying everything that Roger was saying. I bet my arm on the new era, like, all of this stuff. Like, there seems to be a plan in motion that has been set for many years, and it just so happens that Luffy kind of fell into that plan and then became that plan.
100%.
So I think that probably him being targeted so that he could become Joy Boy is part of that. Maybe the Gorosei don't know that aspect because they may have not made it to Laugh Tale and found out that that's the truth.
Yes. Yep.
So they're
just trying to piece things together themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's sort of my whole thinking with this.
What about you, Recon?
It's just like I love that because after this most recent chapter, of course, like the big thing, Shanks is a liar, Shanks is a liar, and he's most certainly, Shanks has capped it many different times in this series. But like Randy, I do think it's out of good intentions / like he's got this mode. You know what I mean? Like I feel like once we actually figure out what Shanks is trying to do, we're gonna look back on all this and be like, oh, so he was actually protecting them this entire time, and not just protecting them, but like what Randy was saying, it's more of so. Now that I already bet my arm on Luffy, now that I bet the fact that he has this fruit, the fruit chose him, if that's the route we're going with all this, if Luffy is going to be the individual to carry Joy Boy's will, is actually Joy Boy now, and is going to take us into the New Dawn, then I'm going to believe that he's going to be the one that can do it. And the thing that the reason why I think this to be the case is I think he was testing Luffy in regards to he's going to wait until he becomes a great pirate, which means going based on his conversation, episode 505 with Marco, where he was talking about how individuals that go through struggles, when people die, he wished Roger would have been like a little more open, would have cried some more. Like that's what really makes a man. And I think what he was trying to showcase there, at least Oda to us as the readers, is that Luffy needed that L so that he could one day become a great pirate. And Shanks...
Didn't he say, get through this,
yes.
Luffy?
Yep.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I think a part of Luffy becoming a great pirate is him taking these L's, but not letting them define him. And so Shanks was just trying to see how far Luffy would actually go. And like, just like how he initially bet on him because he said the same thing as Roger, he wanted to see if he was actually about it. Like, if you're being serious about this and you have the Gomu Gomu me, I'm going to watch and over you and see like, yo, if you real deal, and of course he's seen everything that he's done throughout the entirety of the series, but I feel like now when they actually meet, he's gonna be like, dog, like you surpassed all expectations. like this man did all this and this and this, and you become such an amazing person out of yourself. And of course that's whenever he'll reveal the fact that he always, I mean, maybe he'll never reveal the fact to Luffy because Luffy doesn't care. You know, it's not like it's gonna change anything. Oh, Shanks is like, oh, I'm sorry, I always knew that I had that it was the Hito no Mi. Luffy's gonna be like, what? What's that? I don't know what that is. Yeah. So it's like I love the idea of Shanks protecting him though, and
Luffy's not gonna care. He's gonna be like, "What do you mean, Shanks? You're lying.
Exactly.
I'm rubber."
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, and I think that that's also one of the reasons why, because I see, the biggest combat to, my headcanon there is basically, okay, so then why didn't the government go as hard as they possibly did beforehand? They must have known that it was the Hito Hito no Mi, right? But we're told in this chapter that it's based on the user's imagination. He was told it was the rubber fruit, so his mind was just like, oh, well, I can stretch.
That's right.
But if you remove that barrier and you basically tell him, well, all right, well, I mean, like, now you can do anything. Like, you're a Tex Avery cartoon now. You're a Looney Tune. Like
Luffy
go
Tune.
off, my man. Luffy Tune. Yeah, exactly. We were saying that in my stream.
I love that name.
But you also look at 903, right? Shanks saying it's finally time to meet, right? And then right after that, that's when he goes to the Gorosei. Probably says all of this stuff and kicks the next gear of this plan in motion to create Joy Boy.
Yeah.
He's pulling strings, man. He's pulling strings.
For sure. No question.
He's a true puppeteer.
He's the one keeping everything in balance at this point,
Doflamingo needs to, take notes.
Take some notes.
It's crazy because with Shanks, when he went to Whitebeard, he's saying, hey, it's too soon, right? It's too soon for Ace to go after Blackbeard. It's like he has a timeline in his mind where things should be happening.
Yep.
And for him, it was like, no, like don't have Ace go after Blackbeard, please, and so it is not crazy to think that Shanks is somewhere manipulating everything, but when I think of Shanks, there's a part of me that thinks of him getting the straw hat, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Roger, what he said to him, and again, this chapter is an embodiment of freedom and choices.
Yes.
Shanks, if I get the hat of the Pirate King, I'm like, I guess I'm next up, right? I guess you're saying carry on your will, but Shanks is clearly not trying to become the Pirate King, but he could be carrying on Roger's will
in a different way.
In a different way, right? Where it's like, after Roger read whatever he did on Laugh Tale, maybe what Shanks is doing now would be his mission.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, I have the story now. Joy Boy, I wish I could have been alive in your time. A theory I'm seeing more of is, what if Roger was talking about Luffy? I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Where it's like, it's
that implies going to the future, going to the past, and like
it muddles so much, right?
That's
but if hypothetically they really were reading, let's just say, because how they knew that 20 years in the future something like this would happen. If that's the only way I could see that, like, if he was talking about Luffy there, it would have to be, I wish I could see the day when something like this would happen and to meet this guy, but the thing is, like you said, it would just messing with time and series. That's why I'm so glad that the way that Oda did it is that it only goes.
He did a great job.
He did a great job with time.
Great job.
At least so far, right? Like, and like
far.
Randy was saying earlier, I believe in Oda 110%. Whatever he's gonna do, then he's already shown
it's gonna work out.
That it's gonna work out. But with time so far, he's executed it so well that I don't think he's gonna do something like that right now. But if he does, hey, that would be wild. That would be insane.
I'm not too mad at it.
Yeah.
Like, based on how the time thing was executed, where a lot of people were mad at that.
I remember. Yeah.
Like, time? Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
One Piece is over party again.
Nah, even in that situation, I was like, I trust Oda in all things. And,
For sure.
he basically just went reverse Terminator on it. Like, you can only go forward. Now, if he does end up doing something where, like, all right, someone has Toki's fruit, Toki magically shows up and, like, sends Luffy into the past or whatever, and then, like, suddenly, like, now he's the Joy Boy of the past and he's the one leaving the poneglyphs. Like, would that be crazy? Yeah, but I don't think we need something like that.
Yeah.
No. No, we don't need that.
Yeah,
we don't need that.
Exactly. That's where the holes come. Let's just stay in this. Joy Boy was someone else.
That's like when you just said that just now, I'm thinking of Hitch.
Right? Oh yeah.
When he's teaching him how to dance, it's like, let's stay in the pocket right here.
Right.
There,
Exactly.
Let's not leave this.
Right
No,
here.
because that's where so many stories go wrong. Because the thing too is that, all right, Oda's a meticulous writer. Like, he's got a bunch of stuff planned. I mean, come on.
It's a lot going on.
You look at chapter 19, you see, there's a guy with Rayleigh's, facial hair and all of that. You go to chapter 500, you finally meet this guy.
That's
right. Everybody in the world is finding all of the connections to Nika and Luffy, and actually having the Hito Hito fruit and subtle hints and all this kind of stuff. But for time travel, you literally have to have everything mapped out. If you're going to do a situation where someone went back and manipulated these things the whole time and put that stuff, you need to know when you're going into this that this is a time travel story from the rip, because you can't do that midway. Now, I trust Oda that if he did it, we probably still would be able to go in and find all of this stuff, but that's a lot of people, a lot of writers, they don't, and that's when you get those plot holes. And right now, there's things that are unexplained, but there's no real direct plot holes in One Piece, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think everything's being handled really well. The reception speaks for itself. But speaking of Luffy and Joy Boy, Model Nika.
Man.
They reveal that Luffy's devil fruit is not the Gomu Gomu no Mi, but it's a mythical Zoan. Human fruit. Model Nika. What do you guys think about mythical Zoan devil fruits overall? Or let me ask you guys, Recon, I'll ask you, what's your favorite type?
Yo,
at this point in the story.
I mean, it was Paramecia for quite some time, but after what I saw this week, it might have to be Mythical Zone.
Mythical Zones, they have a great lineup.
They have an amazing lineup, dog. And the thing is, so I wanna project this question back to you guys, in regards to the Zoans. What do you guys think about the line of Zoans having a will of their fruits. Own?
Yeah,
that is such a fascinating line.
I think of Funkfried, right?
Okay.
And I think of how Zoans are used and put into weapons.
Okay.
Right? So I think Vegapunk is cognizant of this fact that Zoans, they have a will of their own. So it's probably much easier to infuse a Zoan into a weapon than the other types.
Yeah.
So Zoan seems to be based off of animals. Right, so when you conceptually think about it, it's like, yeah, it would make sense, right? Because it's based off of technically a living thing, as opposed to mythical Zoans. Well, not mythical Zoans. Paramecia and Logia is pretty much anything.
Yeah,
right?
For sure.
It's like it's pretty much anything, but it's not necessarily sentient.
Yep.
So that's the only explanation I kind of rationalize it as. Oh, Zoans based off of animals. Animals, they have a will. Yeah. That's what they're going off of. But it could be something completely different.
I find it extremely interesting for the mythical part, is that because what I think Oda's going with the whole gods concept in One Piece. I mean, obviously we've seen it in, there's multiple different definitions for it within the story itself. You have those dragons being known as gods. We saw NL, who was just a figure that they couldn't understand what he was doing, so they referred to him as so. And I'm very interested now with the whole
Buddha fruit.
Yes.
You have Kuma carrying a Bible.
Yep. So I'm very interested on seeing where Oda's going to take it now with all of this coming, especially whenever we get into the origin of the fruits, because we know that there's a direct connection there. And so that's something I really can't wait to see after this week's chapter.
It's a lot of religious concepts, and even with King, right?
Yeah.
And basically fallen angels, fallen gods. Oda's gonna get real deep with this, right? And in the last breakdown I did with Arter, Joy Boy, and Parvision, we talked about God Valley, right? But just the name of that, it's like,
yeah, a lot of implications.
You know what I mean? But you have a valley, and you say that's the valley of gods. Gods typically sit up atop, right, upon their perch. Why would gods be in a valley? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like a weird thing that Oda does. So once we get backstories for that, we go into King's situation, what's going on there. It's going to be a snowball.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a snowball effect. But with Luffy and the model Nika, is there anybody that comes to mind where you're like, I could see the person be the mythical zone as well?
Oh, man. I mean, this was funny. So my wife and I, we were joking after the chapter. It was like, all right, so we got the Hito no Mi model, Daibutsu Buddha. We got the now we have the sun god Nika. It was like, is there a Hito no Mi model Jesus? She asked, right? And I was just like, yeah, it's Brook. My man died and came back.
Came back on the third day. Yeah. No, I mean, now I'm seeing Recon. Did you have anybody in mind?
Oh no, I was trying to. I remember earlier we were trolling about Kata Curry. That was gonna be my answer.
Everything you can do, I can do better. Yeah, I'm
right.
a Hito no Mi too.
That's right.
Right, everybody wants to be a mythical zone. People were throwing around Blackbeard, saying, "Hey, the Logia fruit doesn't turn into an actual element. All the things it can do. What if Blackbeard is something else?"
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mythical Kraken, and the darkness is the ink.
Yes. Yeah, right, right. People were also talking about Mihawk, right?
Okay.
And people were kind of drawing the parallel of the eyes,
right?
Saying, could that mean something? Because Hakuba has the eyes, possession,
Emu as well,
Zunisha, Emu.
I mean, that's where I always bring it to too, is because people always bring Zunisha, Mihawk, and Emu up, right? But they always forget that Cavendish had the same eyes with Hakuba. So that's the whole thing there, is that I think that there has to be some sort of possession angle to a lot of this, some sort of like the souls intermingling. And it made me question, we've never seen Cavendish like in the water. Does he have a fruit?
Does he have a devil fruit?
And then everybody was like, oh, well, he was in the tournament to get the Maramara. Well, I mean, I don't know.
So
maybe he wanted to sell it. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the what Oda has done is perfect, right? Because as a fan, now I'm looking at everything like, I have to go back through it with a fine-tooth comb because I not overlooked, right? It just wasn't. It is no way you could have known. But I'm like, Luffy's devil was rubber.
Yep.
Now it's model Nika. People were
still
complaining about it, like,
still rubber.
It's still rubber.
Yep.
People are complaining, saying, why would a mythical zone be rubber? Because it is.
Yeah. Right.
Like,
this is Oda made this up.
This is I'm like, I'm like, bro, Oda made this up. It doesn't have to follow any rules outside of the story.
This is so now he has an excuse to do whatever he wants for the rest of the story. Now, now the question that really, comes through here is, obviously the implication here is that Joy Boy had this fruit, right? Mm-hmm. But now, if Joy Boy had this fruit, does that mean that this, like, it's sort of the chicken and the egg sort of thing? Like, all right, so who was Sun God Nika? Was there a Nika to derive the fruit from for Joy Boy to eat to become Nika? And then that also brings this question of, okay, was there really a Buddha at one point?
Yeah.
So that a soul from that was put in a fruit. There's a lot of things. I was going back to, because I was remembering, after 1018 came out, we learned about Nika and the Sun God. Everybody was deep diving and all that, and a lot of us were going back to different areas of the story, especially Skypiea. So I went back and I reread the Nolan and Calgar flashback again, and I was just thinking about a lot of the imagery, and they are worshiping the Sun God Kashi, right? But it's a snake. right? So then I started to think, okay, what if Joy Boy wasn't human, right? What if Joy
Okay.
Boy actually was a snake that ate the fruit? And then that's, something similar to Nola, to Kashi and all this. One of these like Skypea, Jaya, Shandian snakes. And there's also, when you look at the silhouette of Joy Boy, like I remember even thinking that, I actually was like, maybe they have a snake Zoan. Obviously we were all talking about, probably had the Goma Goma no Mi, but just the way that the hair was drawn, it was almost like, just sort of snake-like. I'm still figuring out the pieces of this theory and all of that, but I just, what do you guys think if, obviously this is the human fruit. What do you think about Joy Boy not being human? Just being like Chopper-like.
Joy Boy was a Nakama of Zunisha.
Yeah.
Right? Zunisha is a large elephant. If Joy Boy is
a large snake.
A large snake. It's something I think about all the time. Is like the whale tree,
Yeah.
It's like, man, something's going on here. Something is weird.
I've been thinking a lot about like what is the origin of the fruits? Like why can't they swim? Why they always talked about these curses, and it makes me wonder is like were these individuals that we're talking about now, like were they infused? I know we were talking about that before, whenever trying to come up with possibilities of like what 1043's ending meant, and for Joy Boy's soul being in the fruit and whatnot. But it's like after you see stuff like this, and the fact that the fruits choose the owner and all that stuff, like outside of inherited will and destiny and all that, like if there is like a legitimate connection to the individuals that originally had this before, or the fruits that were created, or they were created thanks to, like, let's just say, if this is One Piece, like these individuals from the past who were cursed were turned into fruits. And so it's like and that's what makes me think about the whole mythical Zoan thing. Now that you bring up the snake, it's like the snake obviously is very important for the whole Adam and Eve story, which is obviously where Oda is going with like the tree and whatnot. So like, is there a connection
Good
there?
points. Yeah.
So I'm super interested on how the mythical Zoan aspect and the origin of the fruits, how all of that connects, because the whole gods concept in One Piece has been so fascinating. And if, let's just say, right, in one corner, maybe even Wano, they considered Kaido's fruit, the Azure Dragon, right, with the magic carp, as we call it, that they once worshipped this thing. Like, so all of the mythical Zoans within the world were all worshipped at one point, and yet, like, none of them were they were gods to them, but like they weren't doing anything like they were doing things that so like, for example, right at the beginning of Wano, you had people saying that Luffy's fruit was like sorcery. They're like, what in the world is this guy doing? Why does he have this? So I'm interested on what did they have in the past, like what created like the idea for like the fruits that caused all this insanity in the first place. And that's what's had me really, like, ever since I saw that mythical Zoan line, my mind's just been going crazy. Like, Oda, what in the world do you have planning for this concept with the origin of the fruits, dude? Like, this is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, it's a wait and see, right?
Yeah.
No one, for the most part, we didn't expect Luffy's Devil Fruit to be this, right?
Yeah.
And like you said, Recon, I'm super interested in how Devil Fruits, how they got here.
Yeah.
I fear that once we get to that Devil Fruit conversation, it's just going to be like, well, it was at this tree or whatever.
Yeah.
It'll give more insight.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think, I guess when I think about just Devil Fruit types, and I say my favorite, I would say my favorite is still Paramecia.
Okay.
Right? So Paramecia.
Yeah.
Law, Dofi, Katakuri, Whitebeard.
So many good ones.
It's just, it's but this has changed the game.
For sure.
And we've said that all the time, but this has changed the game completely for One Piece fans, and One Piece is a story. Like Randy was saying, Luffy probably isn't going to care. Right?
Oh, for sure.
It's like, I'm rubber. Like, how do you
He's going to look at
know?
Chopper and be like,
about?
hold up, are we the same now?
Right? And then he's going to just casually eat a rumble ball and turn into like an elephant. Yep. And it's going to be like, oh, wow.
Right. Exactly. And then Chopper's going to be sitting there saying, damn, I'm really the Dollar Tree version of this fruit.
So it's He's rubber. He's rubber. But it's this is crazy. I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the freaking video. I'm like, Luffy is the sun god, right?
Yeah.
And the powers that he gains, like his body's, once you eat it, the body gains the properties of rubber. And they're only limited by their imagination and putting smiles on faces far and wide. They are the embodiment of the warrior of liberation. Awakening exponentially strengthens their fruit, strengthens their rubber body, and they have even more freedom. So, the most ridiculous power in the world.
Yep.
Sun God Nika, super flexible, only limited by their imagination. If I tell you that, what do you think? Is this fruit broken? Is this fruit perfect? How do you feel about all this information that Oda gave us?
Dude, this might be one of my favorite lines ever said in the series because it just embodies Luffy so well.
It's Luffy.
Embodies One Piece.
It embodies One Piece. Like the fact that the man who wants to be the freest on the seas now has the freedom to do anything he wants as long as it's within the realms of his imagination. And it fits so well because this entire series, the Gomu Gomu no Mi, isn't what it is if Luffy doesn't use it. The pinwheel back in Arlong Park, whenever he saw Soru, thanks to when he was fighting Lucci, creating the gears because of against Lucci and the Gear 3rd and then Gear 4th on Ruskaina. Like, it was Luffy's adventure, Luffy's journey, his imagination that created all of this.
All of it was imagination.
All of it.
Is him.
All of it.
It was him.
Him picking up things. Seeing
Red Hawk
Bellamy
is him wanting to be Ace. It's like, yo, I'm going to pay homage to my brother. I'm going to use fire. Like, that's it.
And he did.
Yeah.
You think of El Thor and all these different... It's like, he thinks of something and conceptually, he's like, I know what I want it to be.
Yes.
I don't know how to get there, but I know what I want it to be.
Exactly.
And then he figures it out. His body, and that's the great part about it, right? Because Luffy saw CP9 and them tapping their feet. And this is telling you guys just how the rubber fruit, the Nika fruit works.
Yep.
Because Luffy wanted to be like that. Tap your feet and you go faster. But for him, in his situation, he can't do that. That's not, well, he can, but he was going through his devil fruit. So what did his devil fruit do? Him and his devil fruit, they came up with an ability to pump your blood to keep up, if not exceed, what they were doing. So this is showing you, when they say limited by their imagination, it can match, I think, any power in the series, 100%. But in its own way.
Yep.
Right? Like, I don't think Luffy's going to start sending lava fists or, like attacks like Enel. Mm-hmm. But what's happening is Luffy is evolving. And then at some point, it's going to be next level, man. It's going to be next level. But like you guys were saying with Sun God Nika and the freedom of the fruit and it going to Luffy, there's another side to this where people are saying this is broken the story. I don't like Luffy having the Nika fruit. What do you guys have to say to those people?
I mean, there really is a lot of foreshadowing here for it. There's a lot of panels that people were bringing up during the stream and all of this, and I was going back to it. I'm sure you guys have seen these. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, and of course, I remember this one myself when Luffy meets Momonosuke, and he's like, hey, change forms. He's just like, oh, I don't know how. And he's like, how do I do it? I don't know. I'm not a Zone. I'm not a Zone, right? Yeah. And then there's also when Jinbei's doing his massive lore dump at the end of Fishman Island, and he's informing everybody that Blackbeard is, targeting special fruits and all this, and Chopper is like losing his and he's just like, oh man, they're gonna come after me, and Usopp's like, no one cares about the Hito Hito no Mi, right? Another example of one of Usopp's lies coming true. And it's like, no, people actually do care about this fruit. But then there's also a fun dynamic there that there's sort of this tie to Blackbeard with one of those things as well. You go back to Blackbeard and Ace's fight on Banaro Island. He's like, oh, the sun versus darkness, who's going to win?
Yeah, exactly.
There's there's a lot of credence here. There's a lot of stuff that just builds into this. A lot of people had theories. I was a big fan of like, let's go to natural rubber. Let's start doing resin. Let's have Luffy coat ships. Let's have him be able to coat himself and go underwater. And the thing about this is that a lot of people's theories that came out from 1043 they're like deconfirmed, but also not, because if it's within Luffy's imagination, like it can happen now.
Exactly.
Anything can happen.
Yeah.
It's the McDonald's commercials from the 90s. Hey, it can happen.
But also something I thought about, right, with this fruit is it rewards the user.
Yes.
Meaning, you get this fruit. It's rubber. You can be like, oh my God, a rubber fruit?
Yeah.
Then you're like, all right, I guess I can just punch, block, whatever. Luffy got the fruit, and Luffy's like, okay. It's like a completely different mindset where he's making the best out of it. And all right, I'm rubber. I'm gonna embrace it. I'm a rubber man. Right? And it's like, because you grew through just this simplified version of the fruit, now here's your reward for believing in yourself, having the freedom, the imagination to get to the point where you're awakening this fruit. So it's just like, this is 100% earned, because this is a fruit where you get out what you put in, man.
Exactly.
and get out what you put in.
Off of that as well, because it's all about the user's imagination. It's basically like Luffy is the only person that's going to get as much out of this fruit as anyone else. Like if you give this fruit to someone else, they're not going to be doing the same things as Luffy. They're not going to be creating Gear 4th. They're not going to be creating Snake Man, Bound Man. Right. Like they're going to come up with their own things. Like this is Luffy's imagination, which is why, if it comes down to it, right, that's the easiest way to get out of the world government didn't put together that this was the Hito model Nika, because one, Luffy didn't look like any depictions of Nika because he hadn't awakened yet. And two, any other users that had probably used the fruit over the years, because it's continuously avoided them, would have been doing different things with the fruit.
Yeah.
They may have not even been stretching.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. And
it's a crazy thing when you think about it.
Something I really like about the whole inspiration thing is, like, you look back and Luffy, of course, he always has the Sugoi thing. Like, he finds something amazing in everything, and everything inspires him in some type of way. And that's shown even in chapter 1 when he knows he can't use a gun, right? So he practices using his fist like a gun. Because he was so inspired by Shanks that he was like, you know what? If I can't shoot someone, I'm going to make my fist be able to project that same power into someone, right? And it's that level of imagination that just makes Luffy unlike anyone else, because he's going to do things in his own way, where even though he's restricted in certain ways, he's going to make it happen in his own way, however it be.
And, I've been saying, it was, let's see, was it after 1010? Right, we got advanced Conqueror's Haki, and Luffy is basically doing these like Conqueror's Haki punches, which are similar to like Jet Pistol and all of that, but like he's able to punch with the Conqueror's Haki from far away. Like his punch is as strong as a pistol now.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Now, theoretically, like if Luffy is able to produce rubber, like if we get to that point, if we get that reveal in coming chapters, like he would be able to essentially like turn himself into a toy, right? And formulate a pistol and then like shoot something out of it. And then, I'm just waiting for that moment when he meets Shanks, right? Yeah. And I really think that when he meets Shanks, like it's just going to be on sight. Like he's going to hit Shanks, because that's what Luffy thinks like strength is and power is. Like it's going to be a friendly fight, but he's still going to just match him up, right? Yep. And I just want that line to come back, and I want Shanks to say, your punch really is a pistol now, huh? Right? But now there's the possibility.
That'd be amazing.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I love that. And then if there was But now if he can do all of this stuff, what if he could, like, literally, like, I thought it was going to be figurative with, like, a Conqueror's hockey punch, right? But what if he literally turns his
hand into a pistol now? That would be awesome. And yo, like going on the same line of thought, like when Luffy meets Shanks, you already know it's a Conqueror's hockey clash on site. It's gonna be just like Roger versus Whitebeard, but with Luffy and Shanks. That's it.
Shanks has to test him.
100%. 100%. They're splitting the skies on site.
On site. The test is coming, man. I don't know why people don't think it's gonna be like a quick tussle, but he has to test him.
That's right.
Right. There's no way that meeting is happening without like a test.
No.
Yeah.
No way. I guess we'll get back to Sun God Nika towards the end with Luffy versus Kaido. And I know we've been already going for a while, so I don't want to. I know it's crazy, but it's just so much to talk about, man.
Bro.
Hiyori and Orochi, right? This is a long time coming. Orochi has been a dick for a long time, a bad person, an inconsiderate person, but also he's been a victim of certain things, right? And it's been it's a cycle of hatred that I think Oda is going to break in his own way. But either way, right now, I just want him to die. Yeah. Right? I would like for him to just die, just because it's like, man, he's done so much bad shit, and he's still at a place where there's some arrogance, there's some some expectation where he wants respect. It's like, Orochi, do you understand everything you've done and what's gotten us to this place right now? And Hiyori, as passionate as she was, you can tell she was in pain, right?
Absolutely.
It's a lot of pain there.
That panel.
Not only
that panel
was
oh
incredible.
My gosh.
Incredible.
Oh my God,
one of Oda's
man.
best.
Like,
absolutely.
It's like she just cuts him off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because he's talking. He's like, hold your tongue.
Miserable wretch.
Right? You're in the presence of royalty.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty much.
Kneel.
And it's
right.
like
exactly.
Like you are like
exactly. Talk
I'm
that
the
talk,
rightful
Hiyori. Let's
princess.
go. Come on,
dude.
Okay. What do you say? Shut up.
Yeah.
You should not. You are not the Shogun of Wano. Wano has become what it's become because you were in control, and my father had enough honor to believe you in Kaido. Right.
Yeah.
Went and danced for a fool. I'm sure she thinks back to those days and is like, my dad was an idiot dancing, and that was embarrassing.
This whole scene is underrated.
Oh man,
it's so,
it's a lot of passion, man.
People were just like, I was even seeing it a little bit in my stream. They were just like, nah, let's get past this stuff. Let's get to the Luffy stuff. To be perfectly honest, like, I loved everything in Marijoa, but I think the most hype I was when I was doing my reaction was when it switched to Hiyori and Orochi, because like I'm just so invested in this this moment.
Well, I know for a fact you are, and you have kind of like threads, or like where it's like, I want this, right, and because of this could be connected, especially with the with that with Orochi and with Tama.
Oh yeah.
So it's like you've done extensive research on these particular individuals. I can understand for you. You're like, oh yes, let's go, let's go, confirm it for me.
Let's get it.
Come on,
let's get it.
Like black. I think I don't blame people like for just being like, get to gear 5, man, get to gear 5.
I don't blame it either. I don't blame it either. But all I say to those people is like, is just like relish in these moments.
Let me do my thing.
Let me do my thing. Let Oda do his thing.
That's right.
And you do your thing, in understanding that like there's a lot going on here, and there's so many layers. I will be honest, and I will say that I will be disappointed if Orochi comes back again. Like this, every other time that Orochi's been taken down, I was like, no, this isn't good enough. Right.
Yeah.
But this right here, if this
feels full circle.
Exactly. If Orochi dies here, this is, and it's so funny that we have to say that in One Piece. Like, if Orochi dies here,
yeah.
But like, it's just
knowing that he's not gonna die, by the way.
Right. But this,
for a fact,
this should be it, because
it should be it.
Like, and it also, one of my favorite things about this, I was really worried about Kazenbo when it was created, right? Because obviously it was a byproduct of 1030, which I don't think was anybody's favorite chapter. Well, maybe someone out there. But it's like, Kanjuro comes back.
That's a death. That's a death.
Creates creates Kazembo.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, what is the purpose of this?
Exactly.
Why did Oda bring back Kanjuro, who had a great death, to create Kazembo? What's the purpose? I was like going through a whole bunch of theories. I was like, all right, maybe we'll get.
It's just more chaos.
Right. No, but I was like, maybe Marco will fly into it, and then he'll like, turn it to ash, and then rise from the ashes, and he'll save everybody from Kazembo. Like maybe that's the whole thing. I was like trying to figure it out, and it's like, but it was right there in the first dialogue. Like, this is my suicide pact. Oda brought back Kanjuro from his great death to create Kazembo, to create this full circle thing where Orochi now gets beaten by his own creation. And that's one of my favorite tropes in any medium, anything like that, when the villain gets their just desserts by like what they have created. And we're also getting that with the world government ordering Dripper to kill Luffy, creating Joy Boy, which is exactly what they didn't want, right? Orochi built up Kanjuro. He made him, and then Kanjuro ended up being his demise, but also having Hiyori play a crucial role. I wanted Hiyori to get her hands dirty. Admittedly, I was like, let her be a secret samurai trained by Denjiro this whole time. Cut this man's head off, cut his tail off, all that. Like, I was ready for it. But the cerebral nature of it, of her just using the sea stone nail, right? Because now any sort of durability that his fruit may have given him is gone. Yeah. So he's really burning. Yeah. The same way that Odin was burning. It's perfect.
One of my favorite things that we've seen in this arc, and I really loved in this Hiyori panel, is when characters have their defining moment, they've been declaring their name. And when Hiyori declared her name, finally taking off the mask, being in front of Orochi, like, yo, this is who I am. This is who you've been talking to this whole time, and you better kneel. And I love how that's been a consistent theme throughout this arc. Like, it's been so good.
Yeah. It's like coming into yourself, coming into your own, 100%. Right? It's just like, I am becoming myself. And it's something I talked about in a recent video, where it was a book, I believe by Michael Mead, the ties between, I think, your soul and destiny. And he said, just the one question that, God asks you at the end is, did you become yourself? And how I tied it back to Joy Boy and Luffy is that, it wasn't about Luffy becoming Joy Boy. Like, Luffy was always Joy Boy.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not about somebody else taking over or like influencing Luffy. No, like, what it means to be Joy Boy is what Luffy is. That's the essence of what it is. Exactly. Right. So in a way, as much as we talk about Joy Boy candidates, we have those fun conversation. It was always Luffy.
Always.
It was always going to be Luffy. As interesting as the Ace conversation is, man, Ace never became himself. Yeah. Right? Yep. It's like he was troubled from the beginning, and to the end, he was then not even living for himself. Yeah.
There was too much pressure put on him.
Exactly. It was a lot. Yeah. Went from, and so as perfect as Ace seemed to be, I'm sure, like, for Shanks, son of the Pirate King, and Roger, being just the goat that he is, like, oh no, my son is gonna find the One Piece, right? Threw Ace's hat in the ring before he was born.
Gained Whitebeard's respect too.
Like, Ace was the John Connor of this, to take it to Terminator. It's just like, hey, you're the one, you're gonna save the world. The machines are gonna kill everything, but you're the one. You're gonna save it.
And it's so dope to me that we all, like, the meme where the guy's with a girlfriend and then he looked back.
Yeah.
That's how we were in Alabasta.
Oh,
right?
for sure.
It was like, we love Luffy, right? Don't get it twisted. But that is other brothers.
Bro, when I first saw him,
pretty fucking
I was
cool,
like, that's
bro.
that dude.
Like, come on, man. I'm like, dude, this dude is nice,
Facts.
right?
Yep.
And he held Smoker off, who was already right? Smoker was peak at that time.
And Smoker was like, all right, like,
he was a part of the Whitebeard. Like, what Whitebeard? Well, hold up, bro.
And then we find out he's the son of Roger.
Yep. Right.
And then, we find out about Conqueror's Hockey. I'm like, yo, Ace was he was the guy. And Oda just killed him.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and that's when it turned the story on its head. You're like, oh wow, like this is like Luffy. Ace has the strength, he has the charisma, the charm, the smarts, the devil fruit, the lineage, right?
Yep.
He was next in line. Whatever Whitebeard says, Ace was going to be the next captain of that crew. It was all lined up for him to become the next Pirate King.
I still, I bring this up a lot, but one of my tinfoil things is obviously we know that Shanks prevented Kaido from getting to Marineford, right?
Yeah.
And I don't mean this in any sort of like malicious way. I'm not saying Shanks is evil, but I feel like he wanted it to happen. Like
Ace's death.
Because he already bet on Luffy, right? Okay. So it's like, so I don't need any competitors. Luffy's already got the fruit and all of this other stuff. So he's on the chopping block. Kaido, if you go there, you may turn the tide to where like this actually doesn't happen. So
but Kaido may be like, at that point it's like too many unknown variables. But
then
like,
once he found out Luffy was there, if someone told him Luffy was there, that's when he pulled up. Like, oh, hold up, I gotta save him.
I was talking to somebody the other day. They brought up something very interesting about that, where they were like, maybe the reason why Shanks, whenever he pulled up, maybe it was just that because Ace has that Luffy quality to him, where you always feel like no matter what he's gonna make it out. You know what I mean? Like Ace,
and he had the power to draw people to him. They talked about it in the novel
exactly.
Too.
So it's like at some point, Shanks was probably like, you know what? Even though all this is happening, and even though he like you were talking about earlier, with meeting Whitebeard and wanting to put a stop to all this before it happened, but even then, maybe he still believed, like, you know what?
He did everything he could to stop it. And then once it got to that point, it was like, I can't.
This is inevitable.
It's inevitable.
You know what
exactly.
I mean? Like, this is supposed to happen.
Yep. Right. Exactly.
And
like, it's the same way that, you think about Big Mom, right? She wants to unite the world, but she's doing it the way that she's doing it, right? It's not the right way to go about it. Like, would Luffy be pissed if he found out this information about Shanks? Yeah, absolutely, for sure. But then if Shanks sits there and is like, well, XYZ because ABC, right? Like, I mean, you needed to become Joy Boy to free the world and all of this other stuff.
You'd have to understand.
This is the way that it's prophesized. This is the way it's supposed to happen.
He said it from the beginning. I'm not a good dude. I'm just a pirate. You know what I mean?
But then, like Randy was saying about choices. And right way, the wrong way.
Yep.
All about your vantage point.
Yep.
Right? Like, we look at Luffy and what he's doing, and it's like we are following them, so they're the good guys.
Yep.
Right? But imagine how Luffy looks like to the world government. It's like, this guy is a terrorist.
Yeah.
This guy is challenging us at every single point.
Yep.
He is something that needs to be stopped. He's a problem. Right. And so the same thing with Dragon. I think it's the same thing with Rocks.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yep.
It's
like I've said it multiple times. I think Rocks was a good guy going about things the wrong way too. And and the reason I say this stuff is because we have so many examples in the story.
100%.
Like it's just that's one of Oda's things. It's just muddying the waters of what is good, what is bad. What is, it's
what's real and what's not,
because it's all perception. It's all perception.
Yeah.
And
it's all hearsay, rumor. Yeah. It's coming from the mouth of Sengoku, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Yo,
exactly.
to be the leader.
Propaganda.
Man.
Exactly. Yo, to be the leader of Kaido, Whitebeard, Big Mom, you had to have been a great man, dude. You had to have been a great dude.
It's something about you.
Yeah.
And again, it does allude to some tactics there, right? Where it's like he was probably a really clever person, right? And had ways to like control someone like Whitebeard. Like, what did he do to sway someone like Whitebeard? Who, I was thinking that money was necessary. Whitebeard wanted money for his island.
Sure.
Big Mom, resources. Shiki, he just liked teaming up with people, right?
Yeah.
It's just like I don't. He doesn't like peace. And then for Kaido, young, impressionable. He may have given Kaido his name. I'm not sure if you guys have heard about that. Where like,
oh yeah, that's been my thought,
right?
Since I mean, especially like since we see Kaido
The king
give
thing.
King his name.
His
I'm
name,
like,
yeah.
that's like a total quality you pull from your mentor.
Yeah.
Yes, right? And then the Joy Boy conversations and Kaido going after the Wano devil fruit for like the Yamato devil fruit with Wano, choosing Wano in particular, straight up telling Yamato, you don't know anything, right?
Yep.
I'm here because it's Wano.
Yep.
Right.
Okay? You're ignorant. You know, so it's just like, there's so much there with Rocks. I'm like, I can't wait to find out more about him. But
We're gonna
like,
keep being able to go back to that you couldn't beat Joy Boy either line.
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Because I'm like for Kaido, did someone say that to Kaido?
No,
You know what I
it's
mean?
just like, look at everything he's
Or
done.
did somebody say it to Rocks?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
too. It's like, look.
Kaido said, you know, and you're strong. After you lose, people abandon you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So it's what I love about One Piece as well is like how it shows you the results of your upbringing and situation.
Yep.
But then also we have a situation where you have two people who go through the exact same thing and come out on the opposite end.
Yes. Yep.
Right? With Doflamingo and Kodazon.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Go through the exact same thing. One was like, man, I got to change the world. One was like, well, I got to burn the world.
Yeah. 100%.
You know? And that's real life.
It is. Yeah.
That happens.
Get to the end, you're going to come to your own conclusions.
That's
your
right.
own conclusions. That's what it's about
That's
at the end of the
whole
day.
Theme right there.
And the winner, right? The winner picks what the history is.
Right.
Yep.
Right? When the winner picks what's right or wrong. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Like,
we see that in real life too.
Yeah.
yes.
It's whoever's paying for the history book that's going into the
Right.
schools.
That's right.
You go back, like, I remember being in school, and it's like, I'm like, yeah, this shit is okay. Then you get out of school, then it's like, wait, all that is part of my history?
Yep.
American history?
Yep.
Yeah. Right. Right.
I wasn't taught any of that.
Yep.
Right.
It was Christopher Columbus. Clear.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like over and over again. You know?
1492.
It's just like, God, you remember that year.
Right.
It is drilled into your brain. Yep. Just like, remember the beginning of Wano, what they were saying, the kids were being taught?
Yes.
Right.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
It's just, it is the brainwashing, and I just love how Oda touches on these themes that we still experience today.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
So, we're going down the rabbit hole with this, man. But we haven't even talked about like the last couple of pages yet, where we see Gear 5th, right?
Still can't believe it, dude.
Like, listen, bro. When the hand of God came through, like, and grabbed Kaido,
Yoinked, bro.
Yoinked him. Yoinked him. Let's get our
Kaido.
sound effects, right?
Right.
This man said roof piece is not over yet, dog. You're getting back up here,
Right. And Kaido's eyes coming out of his head, right? Luffy, like blowing
is that
up
the
his
fruit?
arms.
Is he bending reality?
And then I'm like, right, is everything he touches, is it changing?
Is it becoming a
Right?
cartoon?
Yep.
And then Kaido's just like being caught up in this pace. I think my favorite panel, right? My favorite sequence is Kaido using blast breath. Luffy's on his back, right? Laughing.
Yeah.
He jumps up. It's like, ah! And then
Yoinks it back to
fucking
him.
picks up the ground and then sends it back.
Yo.
And then Kaido blows up. And he's like laughing uncontrollably.
Yo, straight up, like how you would in Yu-Gi-Oh after using Magic Cylinder, just like sending it back to him. Yeah,
Right. Magic Cylinder,
Mirror Force,
It's just
exactly.
it's just like, oh my, what is happening?
And it's also a callback to Mr. Three's candle wall.
Yeah.
Oh,
True
absolutely.
that.
Like, Luffy's
Absolutely.
always pulling
But-
out what he sees.
My favorite thing about this is that Luffy, right? I feel weird. I can fight again. Gear 5, I guess.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah, for real.
Like,
it shows his thought process. He's like, you know what? Oh, I feel like I'm at my peak. This has to be Gear 5.
Gear 5. That's it.
That's it.
It's just like the freedom that he has now.
Yep.
Luffy's truly unlocked.
Oh, no question.
Truly unlocked. Like he doesn't have to know he has a Hito to me.
Yep.
He doesn't need to know that.
Yep.
He's just gonna do his thing, bro. And
It's not going to change anything.
Visually,
Unless someone literally tells him that he can imagine anything. But I mean, he's figured
already
that out
doing
for
it.
himself.
He's already
doing it.
He's
been
figured
doing
it out
that.
for himself.
Yep.
I do have to say that
doing that.
out of all of the gears that Luffy's done, like, This is my favorite.
Me too.
Like design wise, because it's so close to Luffy's base form to begin with, which was like an interesting choice from like how Luffy has stayed in his base form for so much of this battle. Also, you know, Bound Man looks so weird and like wonky and all of that, and like Snake Man is cool, but I love just old school Luffy. And that's the other thing about this chapter too, man, is that people were complaining about things, and granted, for me, I do have one criticism. You know, I wish this was like 1045, and I wish we had just one chapter of 1044 where we just sat in more of the dread of Kaido and everything, and like
Randy, you're speaking to my heart right now.
You know, I just wanted to see all of the reactions of the crew,
the despair.
to the despair. Luffy's dead, and all this.
The tone of that chapter when it happened was, oh my god,
it was so beautiful. It was exactly what I wanted from Kaido.
I wanted that,
like that,
because
I wanted him to be a menace, and we got it.
We got it.
So
once liberation, the warrior, he's gone. Now what do we do? Right?
Yep. It's like we lost who we bet everything on.
We lost Luffy.
Yeah.
Right? We bet everything on him. He's gone. Like we just saw him die. He's dead.
Yeah.
Like we could have had like a situation where some of the you know, the other crew members or the alliance and all that, we could have had this like rally moment where it's like, okay, we lost our leader, but that doesn't matter because we're still here to take you down. You know, kind of like back in Skypiea with Enel. Like they didn't know where Luffy was. He was inside of a snake, right? So it was, but they still were giving Enel the business, even though they couldn't take him down. Like that's what I wanted. So I feel like we got 1045 too early, and we missed 1044. But the thing that I love about 1044 is just how classic it feels. Like I felt like I was reading a pre-time skip chapter.
Same.
So that's what kind of like took that like, even though I still have that criticism about it, like I was still having a blast because I was like, this is awesome. This is old school One Piece. This is, the humor is back.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yep. The panel of Gear 5th where it's officially shown off, I love it because, just like you said, it's a reminder that Luffy's always been the same. He's in the same pose that he's in Volume 1, the same pose that he's in Volume 61. Like, even if he's in Gear 5th, he's in final form, he's always going to be the same silly but amazing and epic Luffy. Like, he's always going to be the same. And I love that so much about him.
Unapologetically himself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and
already waiting for the figure.
Yep.
You know, it's just everything just came together so perfectly, and I'm so happy I was here to experience it.
Yeah, man.
And being in the community as well, like just seeing so many people enjoy themselves and just go crazy over the chapter. And again, like, bro, we've been on this journey for so long, man. And like to see Luffy where he is now, bro, it's it feels great.
I mean, for anybody that's not with us, it's going to be hard for them to go through the series without someone saying the words Hito Hito Madomuga to them.
Exactly.
People are saying this is the ace thing. Like, you're gonna know Luffy doesn't have the Gomu Gomu no Mi. Like, you know, like people are gonna say, oh, Ace is dead.
Yep. Oh yeah.
Because if you Google Luffy now, it's probably it's gonna change.
True.
I always bring up the story whenever I went to go buy Pirate Warriors at GameStop, and I was like, can I get a copy of One Piece Pirate Warriors for the PS3? And the guy was like, is that the series where Ace dies? And I was like, so that's how like common knowledge that is, and I feel like that's how this is gonna be. Is that the series where Luffy doesn't have the rubber fruits?
Is that the one with the rubber guy who isn't really rubber, but is rubber?
Yep. So, oh man.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic time. Like it just makes me happy, right? It's made my weekend. It's gonna make my week, and knowing that even better is to come, right? Because we don't have. Okay,
this is the setup,
boy.
Dude.
This is the setup.
Oda peaks at the end. Oda always peaks at the end.
We don't know anything yet.
Nothing.
It's just about, okay, Luffy's Joy Boy Gear 5, but what does this mean?
Exactly. And I already feel like this is one of my favorite chapters of all time.
Already.
Yeah.
Like,
and then I think next chapter is going to be Luffy versus Kaido, like It's gonna be Luffy versus Kaido like slugfest.
Yes.
Like, the tone is gonna change again.
Oh, so let me ask y'all this while you're on the same line of thought. So Kaido's final form, what do you guys think we're about to see from it? Because if Luffy's in Gear 5th, you already know Kaido's about to go ham, man. Like, so what do y'all think Kaido's about to pull out of his massive bag? Because you already know Kaido's bag is deep enough as it is.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what Awakening is for Kaido.
Yeah. But listen, if Kaido pulls out something else, bro,
I think this
easily
is the end for Kaido.
Okay.
Like I
think you think this is like his final form.
Yeah, I mean, with everything that we're going here, like if Kaido pulls something else out of his bag, then it's gonna we're just playing this game of switching tones and this constant back and forth of, are we winning, are we losing, are we winning, are we losing? And it's like, right now with all of this, like I just feel like it is definitive that Kaido, I mean, as I've always felt, is going to get defeated. Like, I don't know what's going to happen afterwards. I mean, this is Nightmare Luffy right here, 2.0. Like it like to the point where the chapter that, Nightmare Luffy came through, it was Warrior of Hope, and this is Warrior of Liberation. Like, the parallels are there. So
yeah.
And there's a lot of Thriller Bark stuff that's, being paralleled here. I mean, there's elements of all types of arcs, even now Skypiea. Alabasta's all throughout it as well, but I still feel like we're going to get that late game addition to the arc. But I don't know. Right now, I think my headcanon is like the next chapter could lead us into like the real final moments of this fight. Okay. And probably, I expect Oda to probably do something where, like, as the final hits are going, that's when we get the Kaido flashback. It's like
it's kind of like with Wapple.
Yeah, pretty much. We've seen it before. It's like the final hit is going on, we're getting the flashback, we come back out of it, and then now we just kind of like, we're in the epilogue. Luffy comes out of this form. I hope that he is not able to move, because he, outside of this form, like he was dead, right? So, and then, that's when someone else shows up, whether that's Vegapunk, Blackbeard, Shanks, Dragon, whatever.
Yeah.
Something has to happen.
It's a lot of good stuff remaining, but guys, I appreciate you joining me for this one.
Absolutely.
Epic chapter.
I appreciate you having me here, man. I mean, like, this is one of the most iconic chapters that
for sure
we're ever gonna have.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yes,
I've been dying to talk about this chapter with anyone, and any opportunity presented, I'm like, yo, let's go. And the fact that it was with two of my favorites in this community, I was like, heck yeah, man, let's go, dude.
No,
I can't wait.
Amazing time. Like, it's still so much we could have touched on, but we already like an hour 20 minutes in. So
yeah,
Randy, Troy, King, Recon, two amazing creators. Link will be in the title and description. Check them out. Do you guys have any last words for the people?
Savage.
That's perfect.
That's perfect and on brand for Randy. Honestly,
that's perfect.
That's perfect. But, guys, again, everybody's linked in the description. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.